Hello and welcome back. If you're new, I'm Deirdre, and today it's all about the final week of Fabulous February.
Wanna shake the ground, wanna break away, let loose. I'm tired of waiting, gotta make that move. All the neon signs, now they shout to me.
Now, Fabulous February has just been my little way of giving the month a bit of zhuzh. I think February is one of those months that gets a bit lost because we've had all the fun of all the different sorts of holidays over the end of December and into January. Here in the Southern Hemisphere, we have our long summer holidays and they finish at the end of January, and the kids all go back to school and parents go back to work and all that starts to happen. And it sort of gets lost a bit in the jumble. And it's also, of course, the last month before the seasons change. In my case, I'm heading into autumn. Note, it is cooler today. I can go back to my turtleneck. And for many of you, you're going finally into spring. And so take heart from the fact, if we're cooling down here, you're going to start warming up soon, I hope, for so many of you who have been icebound. But that's what it's been about. It's been giving that month that's a bit lost something, you know, a bit of zhuzh. Now, as you can tell, I've got a cold. I've got the last sort of weeks of summer cold. Isn't that perfect? But believe me, it's not contagious over video. So let's get on with it. What have we done so far? Well, I added the first week, I added sort of being much more careful about my nutrition and taking out, you know, the sugar and the quick meals that maybe came from takeout or the ones that came out of boxes from the supermarket. Took that out and concentrated on getting back to making my meals from scratch and to focusing on good nutrition. Second week I added getting my strength back, doing some just small stuff, you know, the little push-ups, the little squats, the little planks, those sorts of things that just build a little bit of core and overall strength. And for my flexibility, I've been concentrating on doing my little bit of yoga stretching in the morning and the evenings, and it does make a difference. It really, well, for me it really does. So that keeps going as well. And then the third week I said it's time to add a little sparkle, do a few things that you hadn't been doing up till now, look after your skin, just give yourself a little bit more TLC. And so this is the week now, the fourth week, we get to put it all together. Now, it's all been going on and building, of course, but this is the week, summer cold aside, that you put it all into one and you do a bit of a twirl and spark. This is take the confidence from the last few weeks and use it to push outside of your comfort zone. Just a little, not a lot, and only in ways that you like. And I suppose this is something that I think we could do to combat that. It's an attitude that as we get older, we've done it all, and that you stop and you no longer are growing or changing or developing. And I think for me, it's really important that I don't. And I know it affects my whole attitude to life is if I see myself as stuck and stopped, and that's not me, or else I can look over there and go, well, hey, I mean, I'm not talking about anything extreme and life-threatening or silly, but just pushing the edges a bit and saying, well, maybe that could be me. Maybe my comfort zone could extend a little and include some other things. So let's get into it. One of the things that I thought about just to push me out, well, not so much out of my comfort zone, but making me focus on things that I have been ignoring. And I have been reading, but I've been reading things that are automatically the ones that I want to. Either the really good crime like, you know, Ellie Griffiths, or some wonderfully geeky thing that just is me, like Factfulness was another one of the ones that I really enjoyed. And that's one thing, but then I went back to my bookshelf and I picked up this. And this is Freya Stark's Perseus in the Wind. And she wrote it, she was a travel writer and did extraordinary things around, I mean, her travel writing is astonishing. But I haven't honestly sat down and just read one of her books for ages. Now this one I picked up because I thought on the news all we hear about the Middle East, or what was Persia, in this case she's talking about Persia after the Second World War, all we hear are the negatives. And it's good for us, or for me, because I get affected by the news just the same way that anyone else does. Sometimes I give myself a news fast, but I think it's important to realise just to read something or hear something or view something that puts it in a different perspective, the beauty and the people, and outside of the war-torn hideousness and the atrocities that have occurred there. I think that it's really good to get a different perspective, because this is a story of people and of landscapes and of beauty. And I think the quote was that, here we go, this was the Daily Telegraph, it said, "Few writers have the capacity to do with words what Fabergé could do with gems, to fashion them without violating their quality." And I think that's so true. And I mean, it may not be this sort of book for you. Maybe you could, somebody else who loves to play with words is of course somebody like Nigella Lawson, for whom words are like food, and she creates recipes, as it were, in her writing. As she said, she's not, I went to see her the other day and it was wonderful, and she's a very stunning academic, brilliant woman. Not at all like the sort of second personality that she steps into for her filming on stage and just talking. She's really just a very clear thinking, funny and warm academic. And as she said, she did say at some point that she's not a cook. She's not a cook for a living. She's not a chef. Her life is not about cooking. Her life is about writing. And the film, the video series and things like that, that's just another version for her of words and using words to describe food. So that's something else. Maybe you could pick up a cookbook that you wouldn't have thought of aside from the recipes, but a cookbook about the way a cook looks at food. I would like to read, and I haven't done it, just read like a book, one of the Julia Child cookbooks, because once again, she wrote beautifully, and I tend to just focus on the recipes, and I really need to focus on the way she writes about the food, because that's just as interesting. Okay, so there we are. That's one thing, a book that you wouldn't normally read, perhaps a movie that you wouldn't normally go and see. Don't know what that would count as for me, because I'm quite sort of eclectic in my taste in movies. I'll see. So it's a shake out the cobwebs, and that can mean looking forward to the new season. You could do a little tidy out of your closet, tidy up your wardrobe, think about the new season. It's coming. For me, it's a new coat. For somebody in the chillier parts of the world currently, think about spring and summer coming up, and just do a little bit of a tidy up wardrobe. And in my new way of looking at things, I'm going to try not to donate anything like as much as I have in the past, because I found out that that's a real issue. So I'm going to sell or swap or find friends that would like these things without putting them into the donation pile to end up at the local charity shop. So that's going to be my last resort rather than my first, and I'm going to go back to selling a few things on eBay or I don't know, Depop, anything that you can sell clothes on, and also just letting friends know that, hey, I have X, would you like to have a look at it? Swap them with girlfriends, why not? I think that's the way I'm going to try and go in the future, so that the very, very smallest amount of things end up donated to, the charity shops, at least until this current sort of wave of donations has passed through. What else? Oh, I know. I was thinking it's a good week to put some of this nutrition and healthy sort of thinking and eating into practice, into more of practice with a bit of fun, and make up a menu of your favourite foods for the week that you will cook. In my case, my current favourite is satsuka, which is that beautiful vegetables and tomatoes with baked eggs, and it's a breakfast food, but it makes a beautiful dinner. What is it? Breakfast for dinner. Brinner, that's the thing, breakfast for dinner. Very good thing to have. So just mix up your favourite foods. Maybe for me it would be avocado on toast for dinner as well as for breakfast, because you don't want your avocados to go off once you've bought them. Anything that you really like, then make up a whole week of it and make it for yourself. Make double portions, put one in the refrigerator, put one in the freezer perhaps for later on in the week, whatever works for you. But make sure that you've got really healthy and favourite foods, not just, oh yes, this is good for me, so I'll eat it. Your favourite foods. So that's another thing for the week. Now, because this is about vitality and integrity and joy, and rebuilding all of that and making sure that that's how we go through life so we can be living our best lives, or for me, I want to create a positive environment for myself so that I can really enjoy the best of my life. And it's not about pushing yourself and hustling and hassling and all of those other words. Grind is a really big word of the day. You know, hashtag hustle, hashtag grind. And that's not for me. I want to enjoy. I don't mind working hard, but I want to enjoy working hard. And so I think whatever you do in your day and whatever productive work that you enjoy, do it with that positive attitude. It doesn't always mean that everything you're doing is super positive or enjoyable, but the process is part of the whole thing. So to try and see whatever you're doing, if it's cleaning up your kitchen after you've made a beautiful meal, well, to say, hey, this is also another way if I take care of myself by giving myself a calm environment, and this is just the process to it. It's not a problem, it's a process. And here's my, I always do one, don't I? I always give you one controversial thing that I think it's worth thinking about at the very least. And this one is going to be controversial, because I'm going to say release negative people to go out into the world. I remember years ago I heard that you know, somebody who drags you down may in fact be somebody who lifts another person up. Maybe it's not that there's anything bad or wrong with that person, it's just that your particular blend of personalities doesn't bring out the best in either of you. So if you find yourself, now, all right, there are exceptions to this rule, of course, but if you find yourself with people who are always negative, who always view the dark side of life, no matter how good their lives actually are, and who are not ever prepared to actually do anything to help themselves to lift up and out, then if you find that is wearing and you come away from that encounter feeling less good than you went in, then you can release them. Now, I know this is really controversial, but maybe you release them for a while and then come back and, you know, see if your personalities gel again. Maybe you release them forever. They can go out and then find people that they work well with. I'm putting a really positive spin on this, but you and I know that there are people that no matter how cheerful and how happy you are and how welcoming and how happy you are to help or to listen or to do anything positive for them, it is not enough, and you end up feeling worse because of it. Look, to be fair, my own lovely late mother was one of these people in many days, and you can't release your mother, sorry, it's just not on the cards, but there were so many times I'd ring her, because, you know, I live in Australia and she lived in New Zealand, and I would be full of, you know, lovely, a good day, and I had some little happy chat about the kids and life and just nothing, whatever plants were growing or whatever. And I would come off the end of that phone call absolutely drained. And I'm sure she was fine. She was cheered up and chipper now. She'd moved all the dump onto me. She completely transferred everything that was getting her down. She'd told me about, she'd got it out, so it probably, you know, made her day better. Oh man, it was really tough though. I'd sort of go, oh, okay, and pow, the rest of my day was really down. Now, having said that, you have to release people who do that, or you can release people, you can't release your mother. I'm sorry, there are some people you just can't, but you can at least prepare yourself for it and perhaps limit the length of time that you chat. Oh goodness, time to go. Well, I've got to go and pick this up. Lovely to see you. Here you are. Here's some nice new books, or here's a whatever, and off you go. And I think sometimes that's probably the only thing you can do in life. Okay, what else have I got? Let's end on something that's much more cheerful, shall we? So what are the last things? Let's end on a really positive note. What are the last things to do that will pull all of these different new habits, I hope, habits for me, in together? I'm going to do a couple of things that I sort of think about and often talk about, but I'm going to make sure I do them. Now, the first one is to always treat myself like I treat my best friend. And by that, I don't just mean have compassion or empathy. I mean treat myself with kindness. And you know the difference? Compassion and empathy are very well, they're feelings, but kindness involves action. And so action for myself may be that even if I'm feeling like today, like a bit low, not low, but croaky and not so great, and I've got a couple of things I have to do this evening. So I'm going to go out and go for a little walk in nature, just get myself out, because I know that always makes me feel better. Now, I am not suggesting that my friends who are currently at minus whatever and iced in with just hideous weather, please don't go out walking. No, but perhaps you can put on your favourite music and just have a little moment. Nobody's watching, and even if they are, who cares? Maybe you're just going to take a long warm bath or something that just can put you out there and get you in the right mood for taking care of yourself. And the other thing that I always do that helps me for every week is my Sunday night planning. I do a little bit of a review of how the week went, what are the things that I want to change in the coming week, but mainly I just want to know what's up, what have I got ahead of me so that it's sorted out. I'm not going to get a surprise and go, oh, I forgot about that. Those are the things that I will just do. And so that's Sunday night, check my diary, do a little bit of just checking to see what it is that I'd like to be doing, overall projects, what's my focus going to be, how am I going to handle that. Those sorts of things make a huge difference to the calm that takes you into the next week. And I'm all for calm. Gives me energy. Your energy isn't being wasted on stress. And so that's one of the things that really helps to keep stress levels down, is by being really well organised and just having little routines that help you with the next week. So that's the sort of last thing to do in February, and it'll be really interesting to see how you all feel. If you've done any of these, if some of them have resonated with you and you've picked them up, I'd be happy. Actually, I'd really like to hear how many of you have just taken little bits and pieces and put them in, and did they have a good effect on you? Apart from that, I hope that you have enjoyed this and that you'll like and subscribe, and always share if you've got friends, girlfriends who you think would benefit from being part of this community, because I think that's what I want from this group. I think we can give each other so much. We have so much to share across the world as we are, and it's always a good thing. And that whatever you're doing, that you're having a lovely week, and I'll see you in the next video.
Do you wanna come along with me?